huge changes in the life of Austin Smotherman. Austin is, and I'm going to ask him this question. He's playing great golf. Is it the best golf of his career? A strong argument can be made in that regard as well. Let me give you some of the stats of what Austin is doing here. He now has 3 Korn Ferry Tour wins, including 2 in this month. 171 career starts between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour. 17 career top 10s. He's currently first on the Korn Ferry Tour point standings, and he's effectively locked up his PGA Tour cards for next year. He's 6th on the Korn Ferry Tour in scoring average, get this, at 68.3. And just in case you're wondering, number 1 on the PGA Tour is Scotty Scheffler at 68.5. He's 5th in greens in regulation. Ready for this number? Staggering. 78% greens in regulation. Turned pro back in 2016. He is 31 years old. Austin, how you doing, my man? How's life?
That's a pretty nice introduction. I appreciate it. Life's good, man. Bright and early, been at it this morning, waking the girls up, and just finished a little family breakfast.
So I promised you I was going to ask this question. Are you playing the best golf of your life right now?
I think so. We've worked hard to get to this point, and to have these results come about and to be on this run is I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it's just trying to stay in this bubble that we're in and just keep doing the same things that Zach, my caddy, and I are doing every week. And, wins stack up, great. And just good events is all we're looking for.
When you say trying to stay in this bubble that we're in, what does that mean? How do you define your bubble?
Showing up to tournament weeks, there's always so much, especially the better you play, the more kind of the asks happen. You want to say yes to everybody and that's not always the case. And he's done a great job as far as getting me through my process as far as what our prep looks like Monday through Wednesday. And then come Thursday, we always feel like we're ready to go play. And we just kind of just let it go and we free swing it. And 72 holes later, see where we fall.
Is that the way you would explain it? Letting it go, free swinging it? I mean, what changed? What put you on this path that you're on right now?
Yeah. Probably the little bit of the relegation this year, having to come back down to the Korn Ferry, having a taste of the PGA Tour life for 3 years, and not just having a taste of it, but just feeling like, it's a place where we belong. So many friends and good buddies out there. Then you have, guys I've played with since junior golf days that are having successes that, I could kind of ask myself, why is it not me? But, my journey and my path as far as, I see the stats right here, 171 career starts and, a number of those on the Korn Ferry, but playing professional golf is such a blessing. And to be able to do that day in and day out for my life as a career is, it's pinch me moment every day.
All right, so let's look back at it, Austin, for a second from that PGA Tour perspective. You asked the question yourself, why not me? Why wasn't it you there?
I think, God's got me on a different path. We've gone through PGA Tour Latin America and, could have whatever kind of perspective and outlook on that as far as seeing it as a detriment or a setback or kind of a challenge that I was ready to meet. But I honestly enjoyed my time starting off, getting to play every level of the PGA Tour, different tours. The growth as a player, I feel like when I made my way to the PGA Tour, it wasn't just a rookie season. I was a seasoned pro by then. I had a lot of scheduling stuff figured out, all these questions, and then it's just kind of just getting comfortable, and it just comes with time. And so, not trying to change my process every single week, because that's when you start going through these spirals and you kind of lose your identity that I feel like I developed playing PGA Tour Latin America, Korn Ferry years, through COVID, through all those difficulties where we had our super season when I first graduated off the Korn Ferry to the PGA Tour, finishing number 25 in the regular season. And we spoke, I think 2 weeks after that happened. And when I was in Boise, I remember sitting in an Airbnb just trying to get decent service to talk to you. And I'm fortunate enough to get to be in my own home today to get to talk to you again.
Now, that identity that you forged in those early days, did you lose it at some point? Did it diminish? And have you found it again? How would you define that?
Yeah. Gosh, bits and pieces probably fall off here and there. Doesn't mean that we don't know what they are, but it's just, I think, a nature to what this sport means, or what this sport is all about. Is, you talked about a little bit earlier in the show, is you what you kill. It's there's never there's never a guarantee in this sport, as far as injuries, taking care of your body, bounces, Mother Nature out there affecting shots and doing things that you just don't expect that are completely out of your control. So just keeping those things front of mind, present, to where when things aren't going your way, you can shrug them off and not have those start to build up. And the next thing you know, you're 2 weeks into a little bit of a slump that we all go through. But hopefully, you kind of have those intangibles that kind of get you back on track quicker than most. And I felt like I did that this last week. Sorry. When I won, I actually hit the ball pretty poorly on Saturday by my standards, and it was so hot last week in Springfield, Illinois. Could barely hit any balls afterwards, just trying to rest up for a Sunday noon tee time. And I knew I had to be efficient. I had to figure out where the face was. I had to start working on it, and I had to show up the next day with a plan because I didn't have a lot of swings because I needed to be able to make them on course. So I wasn't going to waste any extra energy, things like that, that all, build up and coming down the stretch. I felt like I hit some of my best golf shots.
It's interesting, Austin, because in my case, when I get a chance, particularly to speak to young people, everybody's praying for talent. Everybody wants talent. And my personal feeling is that tenacity is a far greater commodity than talent, because I think talent tends to sit and waits for the phone to ring, a sense of almost an entitlement, whereas tenacity doesn't take anything for granted. Where do you fall in that spectrum?
I've always considered myself a gamer, all the way back to my first win playing PGA Tour Latin America down in Tijuana, playing Tijuana Country Club when I won the Mexico Open in 2018. I shot 77 on my Wednesday Pro-Am for 18 holes. And I proceed to go grind on the range. And you know what happens? My 8-iron head flies off in the middle of the range.
Oh,
And it is a complete freak out moment. What is going to happen? I don't have an 8-iron. It's Wednesday night of tournament week. And I play that whole week with no 8-iron. I throw in an extra 3-iron just to have 14 clubs in the bag with my hybrid. And I win by 3. And I win by 3. And it
wow.
was like weird things like that happen. But as far as being a gamer, I think having that belief that your best rounds Thursday through Sunday are what matter. I love playing great on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, but in our sport, they don't really get you too much. And so I felt like I was a gamer. I showed up Sunday this last week, and whether I shot 8 under or 2 under, you name it, our goal was just to go out there and, like I said, free swing it, because we've earned that right as far as our hard work and where we put ourselves on the points list going into last week, and we almost didn't even play. We kind of had a little bit of a contingency plan if I had played really well in Wichita, that I was possibly going to take that week off and go take 2 weeks at home and be ready to get back at it in Colorado next week. But I'm glad we played.
Last week, after Padraig Harrington won the U.S. Senior Open, I'm paraphrasing, but he said a comment about, to win on Sunday, you have to have as little stress as possible, which I thought was interesting, because I don't think that stress is something that as an athlete you always can control. You can try to diminish it, but it's hard to
Right.
control it. Where are you at with your heart and your mind when it comes to controlling things like that? How much, for example, is it a reflection of Jessie, your wife, that you're
Yeah.
able to come out with a clear mind and perform as best you can?
I mean, complete. I mean, it starts in the home. Having 2 young girls now, being a dad, having to be on the road and leave them, and Korn Ferry not being the easiest tour to bring the family on, just especially through this summer stretch, just with the heat and whatnot. So, home life, having it all settled, just taking care of that, and just having such a good team around me. I mean, I've got my coach Cameron McCormick, who I've been with now since my sophomore year of college. So, I mean, we're going on 12 years together at least, and just having him, having my manager Richard in the picture for a long time, and being more than just a manager, being a good friend to me and my whole family, and just adopting us kind of as a extension of their family. And here in Dallas, with my whole family being in California and my wife's family being in California, it's it's a combination of all of them. And then something else in this past year and a half, is I've actually been speaking with a mental coach, kind of just personal everything. And in that being, her name's Fanny Sussinen, who I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
you kind of recognize the name.
yeah,
Fanny's been in my corner and been part of our team now for just under a year. And I talk to her every day.
yeah. I've actually worked with Fanny quite a bit. over the years. She is an absolute
She's
classic. So, was there ever a time when the insecurities attacked? Was there ever a time that you had doubt and you had to start to think of, what if this doesn't work? What's next?
maybe a little bit. I'm blessed to have the support behind me as far as being here in Dallas and having all my SMU buddies, whether they were golfers or not, being at Trinity Forest, where the membership has been an extension of family. Um, and having the belief in me feel sometimes greater than my own, than what I believe in myself I can do. And so those low moments, they pull me out of it pretty quick. And they just go say, go play TF a couple times, go shoot your typical scores out there, come back, let's just have a boys round, whatever it is, and go back on the road. And so keeping those things at home consistent and having some kind of outlet as far as not letting myself start to spiral, because I've got these foundations in place that to help eliminate some of those insecurities. They're never going to be fully gone. I mean, I'm sure even Scotty and Rory and top five players in the world have them in some regard, and it's never. And I think keeping that perspective too. I mean, Scotty talks about it so much. I mean, just his demeanor on and off the golf course and keeping things in line. Is a little bit of kind of how I try and view everything around me.
If you could go back in time a decade or so and talk to a young Austin Smotherman, what would you whisper in his ear?
Just that you probably a little bit of the that you can do this, and that you believe in yourself more and more every day. And just your journey is your journey. That I feel like I kind of had that idea, um, but maybe not solidified in my brain enough till maybe now that these processes and this journey I've been on as far as playing golf as a career and part of my life so immensely is I get to do this for hopefully as long as I can. And you know what, when I gotta hang it up, whenever that is, um, I'll be content with where my career fell, no matter what.
Yeah, it's wise to embrace it with gratitude. You are literally living the dream of many, many, many millions of people right now. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. What did you have to do? What did you have to work on in your game in particular, Austin, that not only allowed you to play as well as you are right now, but you're on your way back to the PGA Tour again? What do you need to be ready for?
Being on my game every single week. I mean, figuring out how to kind of rewrite the ship or correct the ship if we get off path a little bit quicker than what the Korn Ferry allows. Coming down to 100 players, you see how cutthroat it is out there this year. Guys that you would expect to be in the top 100 maybe not being there, and it comes down to not forgetting about every single shot, and how much it means out there. And so being able to not let that stress of what what the PGA Tour lifestyle can bring, as far as a lot of extra asks and just the demands of playing good golf. I mean, you mentioned the scoring averages earlier. I mean, Scotty's 68 and a half on PGA Tour courses is a little bit different than our Korn Ferry courses. We play week in and week out, but golf is still golf, and when we're making birdies like that, we'll take them in bunches.
Yeah, since you brought up the narrowing of the funnel, to use Peter Malnati's terminology, how do you feel about that coming back on the PGA Tour, knowing that it is significantly harder to keep yourself up there than what it has been for the last 40 plus years?
Yeah, and it's a new challenge. I think this season on the Corn Ferries kind of helped me solidify a bit of the processes and the prep, like I mentioned with my caddy, and understanding what Monday through Wednesday are all about, to be ready to be able to have those free swings Thursday through Sunday. To have it only be 100 guys, the narrowing of it, we get we get this opportunity to play the PGA Tour. I mean, it's I don't know what else to say. Just blessed, I guess.
There's little doubt about that. I do want to ask you about your sponsors before we say goodbye and thank you this morning. Austin, who have you lined
Well,
yourself with?
I mean, I'm wearing one of my shirts right now, trying to give them a little bit of airtime as well. But Sean McCauley and the McCauley Company have been a big part of my career, and Veritex Bank. Huge thanks to Malcolm Holland and the whole team there. They put on a great Corn Ferry event here in Dallas, and Trinity Forest, Rock Materials, Grayson Clothers. Who else am I thinking? The First Tee. I mean, I got to give them a huge shout out as far as being a part of my life and helping me get here with a little bit more foundation and you know, things that want to embody kind of throughout the game, and when I see kids and be able to give back. So with all them, I'm excited to have these partnerships and just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we're very excited for you. Congratulations with the success that you're having. Love that you're embracing it with a big hug around gratitude. And long may it continue, my friend. We wish you the very, very best.
Matt, enjoy being on the show as always. You're awesome to listen to, and Fairways of Life, man. I mean, I always sign off of all my emails. I say, best Austin Smotherman, fairways and greens.
It's almost 80% in that. Thank you so much.